Now we have a special interview by Kun Thanong Khantong again. He interviewed Dr. Nipon Pao Pongsakorn, the Vice President of the Thailand Development Research Institute, or TDRI.
I tend to agree with them personally, and in this election, I think the critical issues is the amnesty policy. The only difference is between the two big parties is the details, the principle of the amnesty. And the second policy is the economic policy. Every party has the same economic platform. No wonder, because everyone wants to, woo as many voters as possible. And as a result, everyone try to bluff. Each party try to buff the other party by offering more spending, by offering more and more to the voters, as if that the voters will be easily convinced.
Many are now expressing concerns whether the politicians, once they are in power, can come up with the money to fulfill their campaign promises with all the populist spending that you have mentioned.
So the question we as a voter, we should ask the party, the campaign, every party that, in total, what is the expenditure bill? You campaign a lot, so tell us how much will it cost to us as a taxpayers? That should be the question that the parties should, tell the public publicly at the moment. And then the second question is, if they run into the problem of fiscal constraint and they have to choose among their policies, which policies they will not adopt, will not decide to do, because I know in politics, thanks to Mr. Thaksin, you have to keep your promise, and politicians now try to keep their promise. That's a good news. But the bad news is that if they promise too much, then it's going to affect the economy. Sooner or later, as the experience in Latin America told us, there will be the economic crisis. So every political party should keep in mind what kind of promise is the one with the lowest priority.
Yeah. Do you think that populist policies or populist campaign pledges have gone too far? Do you think that some of the policies might reach or might amount to an intervention in the marketplace?
Definitely. In public sector, using public money as well as the financial institution, particularly the semi-government financial institution, they have made use of their quasi-fiscal money. But at the moment, this time, in this election, the campaign, the campaign has gone a further step. Many parties are now campaigning for a hiking of minimum wage, as well as higher income in the private sector. That is a direct intervention of the private sector and the market mechanism. Also, some party is also campaigning of bringing back the agricultural mortgage program, and that's also heavily intervene in the market. So that's not a good sign for Thai economy, because we have learned that by intervening heavily in the market, the market has been less competitive, has become less competitive. For example, in paddy pledging program or paddy mortgage program, it has seriously affected the competitiveness of Thai rice. Quality of Thai rice has declined. Price of Thai rice has become much more expensive than the Vietnamese rice. This is just for example. And then if they want to increase the minimum wage, much higher than at the moment, I agree that minimum wage has to increase, but not as fast as some of the political parties are now campaigning. If that happens, then it will definitely affect our private sector.
The private sector should play a role in determining the level.
In fact, we have a system already, the tripartite system, which is quite a good system, and of course the government have influential, has influence, can influence the tripartite. But I don't want to see the government put too much pressure on the private sector.
Despite all of the spending promises, not a single party has campaigned on raising taxes, the value-added taxes. But on the other hand, they are trying to cut even deeper into the tax revenue of the government.
That every politician in developing countries, even in developed countries, no one would like to hurt the people by taxing the people, but everyone wants to make people happy by lowering the tax. And sooner or later, if the expenditure bills exceed revenue, the country will run into economic crisis. But what I really like to push the government, every political party, to campaign is, okay, it's fine if you don't want to increase tax rate, but can you find a way to increase tax base? Because with the existing tax, there are still a number of people who avoid paying tax. What are you going to do with that? That's the first thing. The second thing, which I haven't seen, is what is the economic policy of stimulating growth in a way that growth will, the benefit of growth will be distributed to most of the people, or the so-called inclusive growth. At this time, I haven't seen any concrete policy on economic policy, on economic growth.
So we'll continue to see a widening in the income distribution in this country.
Yeah. That's the root cause of the problem. Without the inclusive growth policy, it is very dangerous for Thailand. We know that we are a middle income country, and we have to struggle in order to upgrade our economy, our industry, in order to escape from the middle income trap. We need to boost the productivity of people. We need to increase their knowledge. We have to improve our technology. But we haven't seen any political parties campaigning on the ways to increase, productivity per workers in Thailand.
Another important issue is the rising cost of living. Do you think that it's important?
This is going to be a critical policy, critical issues affecting the ruling party, particularly in Bangkok. I heard, a large number of middle-income people in Bangkok screaming when they went to the supermarket and they have money, but they can't buy palm oil. It's a stupid policy.
Coming up next, Around Asia with Asian News Network. On the way, it's time for the Hangover 2 movie after the break.
Stay tuned.